As far as business goes, I began doing mortgages when I was 19 years old. By the age of 23, I had a successful mortgage business. I probably had 20, 25 brokers working for me. And then I did that until the market imploded in 2008, 2009. From that point, I transitioned full-time into real estate. I called expireds for probably 9 years in a row, every single day. I wouldn't miss one expired on the phone call, every single morning. Mate, is that true?
Yes.
Yes. We saw the same sellers. Most agents think if I call expireds, there's other people calling expireds. What do I do if there's 9 other people calling? The trick is just be first on that phone call. And if you're fourth on that phone call, fifth, you better be damn good. There's different personality style types and methods. The one that I follow is the one from Mike Ferry, which is progressive, amiable, driver, and analytical. If you're speaking to a driver, they're a fast talker, you can probably get away with speaking fast. If you're speaking to an amiable, like my sister, you need to slow down. And I thought in the past, I want to get my message out as quick as I can so that I can get to the point. But that it actually creates the opposite effect. I'll try using this mic. Is it too loud? Is it okay? Louder? That's good. A thumbs up. I thought I meant louder. Pump it up. Okay. So first and foremost, good morning to the Prospecting Bootcamp, minus the prospecting. So, what's that? I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, it's the Prospecting Bootcamp minus prospecting part. I was told yesterday almost at 5 o'clock, so I had to change up my presentation completely on the format that we had set up. We do Prospecting Bootcamps every month for 1 day. So the goal is my personal experiences in bootcamps have changed my real estate career, and that's what I want to share with you all. The only other real estate bootcamp that I know of that's well set up is on the West Coast in Las Vegas. And that's not very convenient. It's a 2-day, so you got to fly there, cost for the hotel, for the car, the whole 9 yards. And even with that, I still would pay for it because if it cost me, let's say $1,000 to attend this boot camp, I could stand to make $15,000, $25,000. So it's a pretty good return on my investment. So that's why I would do them. So thank you all for hanging in. Hopefully little by little, when you go have coffee, you don't start disappearing one by one. What I can assure you is there will be a ton of takeaways today. I had to really step it up with regards to what I'm providing, and I'm looking to do a great job for you all and make sure that the time here is valuable for you. I'm rolling with the punches. So my story. I'm originally from Boston, and I'm married. My wife and I, Christina here, we have 2 girls, 5 and 7 years old. And that's on the personal side. As far as business goes, I began doing mortgages when I was 19 years old. By the age of 23, I had a successful mortgage business. I probably had 20, 25 brokers working for me. And then I did that until the market imploded in 2008, 2009. From that point, I transitioned full-time into real estate. And that's what I continue doing today. I'm an active agent with EXP. My job here is not to recruit. My job is to promote my prospecting bootcamp. That's all I want. I want to have a place where agents can go, connect with other agents who want to grow, and that they want more. Because we all know the stats of what's going on with the average agent in Miami-Dade County. How many agents are there in Miami-Dade County? Does anybody know?
61,000.
Wow, that's a pretty precise number. It's 61,000. Did you know that half of the agents in Miami-Dade County haven't sold one property in the last 12 months? The average agent is probably selling 4 to 5 homes a month, 4 to 5 homes, yeah, they wish a month, 4 to 5 homes a year, and that's probably being a little bit generous. It's probably closer to like 3 or 4. So why prospecting is important to me. If you don't prospect, the question is, how do you get business? If you're not on the phones every day looking for business, how are you getting business? And one thing I'm gonna ask you all is if you could be as interactive as humanly possible, because it makes it funner for me and easier for me. So what is anybody doing in here that's not prospecting to generate business?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Okay.
Network.
So word of mouth. I'm gonna start writing, and forgive my handwriting because it is brutal. I didn't pass the second grade. All right, so let's see if this one works. Word of mouth. Christina, could you help me here? So word of mouth, what was the second one? Social media. Networking. Let's keep them coming. Martha, you don't have to raise your hand, just scream it out.
Wasting money on online gurus and praying it's going to work.
Okay.
Online leads?
Online leads. Referrals. Referrals from who? Past clients, okay.
Or from your sphere in general.
So SOI?
Sphere.
So on the online leads, we could include in there all of the regular companies, right? Zillow, Fast Expert, HomeLight, Dave Ramsey, all of those online lead companies, which they ask you for a percentage of the referral, which they work. Don't get me wrong. If a company like Fast Expert gives you a transaction to where you make $15,000 and you have to pay them 25% and you still keep 10, I mean, that's probably not a bad day, right? So paying the referral fees could make sense, and it's a great way of probably adding a transaction, 2 transactions per month if you're on top of it. So it's definitely a good mechanism, but it's at a cost. So this list is great. Can anybody explain what's the problem with all of these? Explain them. Any ideas?
It depends on someone else.
Yeah. You're highly reliant. So if you're, again, putting door knocking to the side, but word of mouth, networking, online leads, not scratch online leads, most of these. If the person doesn't call you, what do you do? If that lead company doesn't send you the lead, what's that? I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
You said if the person doesn't call me, so I call the person myself?
That's where prospecting kicks in. That's the perfect segue to my prospecting conversation. So I think the #1 reason why I like prospecting so much is because it's predictable. You have complete control of the amount of people that you speak to. So I joined Remax maybe like 11 years ago. And when I was there, this gentleman says, come in with me to my office. He had like a little satellite, separate little office where it was just him. And he said, I'm going to do prospecting. I'm like, what's that? So he goes, come on in and check it out. Then he got in there. He had his little cockpit. He had his scripts in front of him, his little headset on, his laptop open, and he's calling expireds. And I asked him, what's an expired? I was in the business at that point for a few years. Like, what's an expired? Like, how do you get this information? I was just trying to figure it out. And I saw him call and call and call, and he maybe set 1 appointment. He wasn't incredible on the phones, but he was good enough to where he could keep having conversations. And when I saw that, that just opened my eyes to what the prospecting world really is. So I have a question. Who in here actually prospects? All right, so I see maybe 10% of the room, 15%. And leave your hands up if you prospect every single day. If you prospect every single day. All right, so from the hands that were up, 3 of them, 4 of them probably stayed up. So that's what it is. We are in complete control of the results that we can have on the phones, but we're not making the phone calls. So when I get back to predictability, what's that? I thought I heard something. So with this gentleman, when I saw him prospect, I thought, I'm completely in. And this is maybe a conversation for another day with regards to dialers and getting into data. That's a whole other monster. But I went with the dialer, and from that point on, I started prospecting every day. I called expireds for probably 9 years in a row, every single day. I wouldn't miss one expired on the phone call. Every single morning. Mate, is that true?
Yes.
Yes. He and I, we did. We saw the same sellers, right? So Most agents think if I call expireds, there's other people calling expireds. What do I do if there's 9 other people calling? The trick is just be first on that phone call. And if you're 4th on that phone call, 5th, you better be damn good. The seller goes, what do sellers say when they're livid and they answer the phone? What do they tell you? Marcos.
Why do you keep calling me?
It's actually the first time I call you. This is the first time I reach out to you today. If you don't mind me asking, once this property sold, where are you going to next? Somebody else. What do they say to you on the phone?
I'm not selling anymore.
You're not selling anymore. So you mean to tell me that your property just came off the market this morning, and would you have sold it yesterday if I would have provided you a full price offer? You would have? So why don't we do this? And you set the appointment. Anything else?
How'd you get my number?
You know what? That's a great question. Am I being recorded here? So how did I get your number? That's a great question. I actually have a system that when a property comes off the market, I do whatever it takes to make sure that I can reach out to you and have this conversation with you. So I was curious, once this property sold, where are you going to next?
I have a friend in the business.
You have a friend in the business. You know what? I'd be completely surprised if you didn't know at least 4 to 5 agents that are in this business. What the real question is, not if you know someone in the business, what the real question is, who can net you the most amount of money? I'm super curious, Mr. Seller. Once this property sold, where are you going to next?
What are you going to do different from the other agents?
Basically, get your property sold. If you don't mind me asking, ma'am, once this property sold, where are you going to next? You're going to hear me sound like a broken record. The only thing that you can answer is F you when they hang up. Short of that, there's nothing you can do. But you know what? When you have your little notes of all the calls that you're making, that's just a little stick. Boom. One more contact. One step closer to my goals.
How about you're all the same? I'm going to send it myself.
You know, it's funny that you should say that they're all the same, because do you have any idea, ma'am, how many real estate agents there are in Miami-Dade County?
No.
There's 61,000. Thank you for that number. There's 61,000 agents, and half of them haven't sold a home in the last 12 months, and the average agent is selling 3 to 4 properties a year. Is that the type of agent you're looking for, or are you looking for a superstar? You're speaking to them. So ma'am, if you don't mind me asking, once this property sold, where are you going to next? Anything else?
Is your speed one of the better things about what you're doing on the phone?
My speed?
The speed in your speed.
It depends on who you're speaking to. Me, naturally, I speak ridiculously fast. So I find myself having to slow down. My wife, she does this to me, and sometimes she's like, I find myself having to slow down, but it depends on who you're speaking to. There's different personality style types and methods. The one that I follow is the one from Mike Ferry, which is progressive, amiable, driver, and analytical. If you're speaking to a driver, they're a fast talker, you can probably get away with speaking fast. If you're speaking to an amiable, like my sister, you need to slow down. You really need to slow down. And I thought in the past, I want to get my message out as quick as I can so that I can get to the point. But it actually creates the opposite effect, to where they get disturbed. They get turned off by it. I saw a hand go up.
No broker affiliation.
No broker affiliation? I'm sorry, sir. When you say no broker affiliation, what do you mean by that?
I don't want to work with a broker. I don't want a broker in my house.
I totally get it. If you don't mind me asking, once this property sold, where are you going to next?
What does it matter?
What does it matter? Because I have a network of agents that I can refer you to that can help you find probably exactly what you're looking for in the market you're going to. So this property that you have here in Miami, when are you looking to be closed by?
I'm looking around the summer.
The summer. So we are on, today's June 13th. When you say the summer, what date are you referring to?
September.
September. So you want to be sold or closed by September?
Close.
You want to be closed. And you want to do this without the help of real estate agents.
No broker affiliation. I don't like working with any brokers.
All right, very cool. So if I can get your property sold and the buyer pays me, you'd be good with it.
Now, this is a true phone call I got like two weeks ago.
Okay.
So he said no.
So if an agent brings you and again, we're playing through this role play. So if an agent brings your property, Mr. Seller, an agent brings you a buyer, you would not sell it to, let's say I bring you a buyer. You wouldn't want to sell it to my buyer, even if you're not paying me?
I would rather sell to a buyer.
You'd rather sell it to the buyer, but I'm bringing you the buyer. So what I'm going to say with this type of objection is, I don't practice for the oddball. I'm not calling you an objection an oddball. That's what you got.
That one was really odd.
Right, so I don't practice for the oddball. I practice for the 90%, 95% of what I'm gonna get in the phone. So an exercise that I did when I started making phone calls is whatever objection you get, write it down. You get another objection, write it down. You guys may want to make a note of that. If you're gonna start prospecting, know what to say. That's how you know what to say. So once you have, let's say 4 to 5, not 4 to 5. Once you've done this for every single phone call for 4 to 5 days, you're gonna see a pattern. There's gonna be the 90, 95% objection meat that you're gonna get. And then what do you think you would do with those?
They also say, bring me the liar.
What's that?
They also say, bring me the liar.
Cool, and we can address that handler in a moment. But once you have those 4 to 5 objections down, my question to you is, what do you do with those objections? The objection period, because now you have a note of it, right? You have what they're saying. I've got a friend in the business, I'm gonna wait until summer, whatever they say. I'm not gonna sell. What's that?
You come up with a resolution for them.
Thank you, thank you.
You're gonna focus on
Right,
common.
correct.
Majority.
So you're right on. And I promise I'm not gonna curse. I'm not. But you frickin' crush those handlers. If that objection comes out of that person's mouth and they say, I've got a friend in the business, and if you don't say the same thing every single time, you are flushing thousands of dollars down the toilet by not practicing it. So what I would do when I started prospecting is I had the objection on one side, a 4x6 card. I'm a little old school, I like paper. So I have an objection 4x6 card, the objection's on one side, and on the back I'd have 2 handlers. What I had my wife do is that we just cycle through. She would just ask me the next one, the next one, the next one, and I get to the point of where you are so ready for that objection, you're waiting for it to come. And the first part is prospecting, and the next part is practicing your listing presentation. But that's a presentation for another day. We're just talking about prospecting today.
Sorry, when you say that you have a deck of cards of what?
I'd have a stack of objection cards with the objections, the top 5.
Yeah.
And that's what I would focus on my practice. So if I'm speaking to Mate, if I'm speaking to Marcos, if I'm speaking to anybody in this room, if we're doing a role play, that's what my focus is. I don't care about anything in this world aside from having those 5 objection handlers down. Nothing matters. Because if you're speaking to homeowners and you're not prepared for that phone call, what are you doing? You're wasting your own time, is what you're doing. I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to have a black belt. Not the white or the yellow. You want to come in and you're ready, you're prepared for that objection. So that's what I do. Thank you for clarifying that. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. Once you have the 4x6 card, you have the 5 objections that you're working on, and then you have somebody role play with you, and you go through that. Because if you're not practicing with a role play partner, you're practicing with the public. Oh my goodness. That's very pricey. So I kind of got off track with my bullets because we got involved in handling objections. So continuing on my bio, fast forward to now, I've been involved in almost 500 transactions. I have a small team, and I own multiple short-term rentals here in Miami, and I'm well on my way to achieving the ultimate goal, which is exiting the business. That's every agent's dream, right? Is exiting the business. And the question becomes, if you want to exit the business, what's your plan? I think prospecting is a plan. Because if you don't prospect, if that's not your base, then you're going to have to be paying for leads for a long time. And if that lead that you keep paying for, if that source dries up, you're toast. You're done. Your existence is over if you don't have all these other skills in place. And the idea is to get this base, because these conversations that you're having, they carry on to every single aspect of the business. Anything. However, this presentation is not about me. It's about each one of you. So my ask is if you could volunteer, just if you could just shout out, like, why are you here? What were you expecting? What were you hoping to get out of this class, aside from prospecting?
Yeah.
Good.
I would like to be more confident.
Okay.
Or when they come with rejection,
Okay.
and how to answer.
So be more confident. Okay.
Well, you did a really good job, and we were competing on another listing one time, and you ended up getting it. And so I saw your name on there, and I know how great you can be, so I wanted to learn from you.
I appreciate you saying that.
So, congrats.
Thank you. Practice works.
It's great.
Marcos.
I want to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Most of the time when I'm not prospecting, it's because I'm kind of feeling lazy or I'm kind of not into it.
How true is that?
Very.
Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. There's a guy called Ed Milet, a speaker, unbelievable speaker. If you haven't heard him, check him out. He has a book that's just, I believe the book is called One More. One More whatever, One More.
What's the author?
Ed Milet, M-Y-L-E-T-T. My wife and I, we went to an event in Cabo and we actually met him. Unbelievable human being. So his book is called One More. So if you think to yourselves, if you take that attitude, one more, one more, one more call, one more lap around the block for my fitness.
The power of one more.
The power of one more. Right, so take one more listing this month. Try closing just one more time. One more. And not just throwing the towel. If you would do just one more, how many of you have a story, and I want to raise the hands on this, when you just made one more phone call, and that one call set an appointment, and you got so paid? No? Okay. Awesome. We got a few hands up. So when you're prospecting, you will find that one call could change your life. That one call could change the trajectory of your life. That one contact that you pick up could be just the most unbelievable source of leads, of referrals. It could be the relationship you've been looking for. But if you wouldn't have made just that one more call, that never would have happened. So one more. Thank you. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
You know where I kind of started thinking about that was because I saw this interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he says that when he started out, people would ask him, how many reps do you do? And he would say, I don't know. I start counting when I get tired. And I was like, that's it right there, man, you know? Like, I got to start counting the calls that I make when I want to stop.
Right. That's a heck of an approach. Thank you, Marcus, for sharing. Marcus. So, anyone else? Why they're here?
I was hoping to find role-playing groups, partners,
Okay.
to use like practice in the morning,
Okay.
and just getting better over the phone.
So he's looking for a role play partner, role play group. I can set you up with a role play group. I think that a role play group is the foundation of your prospecting. Because there are role play groups that every week you change partners. So by changing partners, you have, whether it's male, female, different personality styles, different ages. It really, it nurtures everything that you're looking for with prospecting as a role play group.
I wanted institutional training to build a foundation because I'm pretty new.
Okay.
So, you know, that's what I'm here.
This is an institution. We got it here for you, buddy.
Yeah, that's it.
I've got your back.
I appreciate it.
The idea is to create a base that you all can work from and just get better from it. I'm looking to create community. That's what I really care about, is community. The more I do this, the more agents know about boot camps, the better we're all going to do. We don't want to be that stat, right? 3 to 4 deals a year. 3 to 4 deals a year is not really what you were looking for when you got your real estate licenses. You're looking to do more. So I want to do a quick exercise. Who here is looking to buy a car? A car, an automobile. Okay? Who's looking to buy a TV? Any appliance? Okay. What else can anybody think about? Something that people normally buy. Just say jewelry. Any jewelry. Okay. What's that? Okay. Tickets? Okay. Tickets to travel. So, and I'm going to circle back to why I asked you in a moment. Do any of you know how many contacts it takes for you to close a transaction? Whether it's asking friends, prospecting on the phone, and if you've been to my boot camp before, you can't answer this question. So anybody you speak to, because ultimately you get a certain amount of deals based on the amount of people that you've spoken to, right? So how many contacts do you have to make for you to actually close a transaction? For the average agent, let's say that's starting out making phone calls. Any guessers?
25.
25?
100?
100? How much?
230.
230. So 230 to 25. That's a pretty big range. The real number is 150 to 200 contacts. That's how many contacts it's going to take a newer agent on the phone to actually close a transaction. Not to set an appointment, none of that stuff, just actual contacts to closings. So what's your thought when you hear that? It takes 150 to 200 contacts. Please just shout them out. Don't even raise your hand. What's your thought when you hear that?
It's overwhelming.
Call for an entire week. It's overwhelming.
And it's true.
Just telephone calls?
What's that?
Just telephone calls?
Contacts. I don't care how you do it. It could be door knocking. It could be standing in the mall. I don't care how you make those contacts, right? It's actual conversations with people asking them, so by the way, when are you looking to buy or sell the property, right? So it's just a conversation. So if it takes you 100, let's just use a number, 150. If it takes you 150 people to speak to, then what's your next question? How can I pound through 150 people? How can I get through them as quick as possible? I think that for you to knock on 150 doors, that would take you a while. Don't get me wrong, door knocking is extremely effective. I'm not knocking door knocking. It works. It's really hot out there. It's ridiculously hot out there. And that's fine. I know people that would knock on an expired door at 6:30 in the morning.
Really? Wow. 6:30.
And they do it for a very long time. Why? Because it works. And it's crazy. But it works. Right? So with that type of tactic, it's obviously less than 150. You could do less. But that's not for everybody. So for me, it's been on the phone, being on the phones. And this is a prospecting class, so we'll discuss the phone calls. So if it's 150 contacts per lead, how fast, which I heard, how fast can you get through those? Well, if you make 5 contacts a day, how many days is that going to take you? Let's say you ask one person a day. How many is that going to take you? 150 working days, which is what? Because you're probably not doing that on Saturday and Sunday. Or you make 25 contacts a day for 6 days. I see your face, you're like. If you're in the business of sales and you're not selling, we're just being frank here, this is a safe area, safe zone. If you're in the business of selling and you're not speaking to people, asking them if they need what you're selling, what are we doing? What are we doing? So my thing is, I want to get through as many people as possible. If I know it's 150, and that's 150 when you're starting out. Once you get more skilled, you join the role play groups, you get better rehearsed, better practiced, that number might go to 120. It might go to 100. My coach and mentor, he would talk to he'd close 1 out of every 20 people. So he'd not even set, he'd close based on every 20 calls he'd make. Which is why agents are doing really big numbers. It's because you're getting through a lot of contacts.
small, like for example, speak to some friends and ask them about what we do.
Okay.
About real estate, and ask them to let us, if we have friends, we have friends.
So what you're saying, so I don't know if everyone can hear him, but I'll just repeat it. So if you have a group of friends and you ask the group of friends if they have any interest in buying or selling, is that what you're referring to?
I mean, I would be asking one by one,
You'd ask one by one.
yes.
Well,
I'll recruit some people, some friends of mine, I'll say, listen, I'm in the business of real estate, let's help each other, something like that.
okay. So if you ask a friend, one friend at a time, how long is it going to take you to get to 150? You better have a lot of friends. And that's great, right? Asking friends because you have a higher chance of getting the business. Or your friend can tell you, they can call you up and say, man, I've got good news. What are they going to say next? I just bought a house, and it wasn't with you. Or your neighbor lists the house. That's painful. So the idea is to get through as many people as possible, so when you lose business, the neighbor, the friend, the whoever, it annoys you, but you live. You move on.
So what do you recommend to make those phone calls, to get those 150 to 200 people? Besides your sphere, besides your past client?
That's a very, very good question. So what do you do to hit the 150? I personally would call expireds. I'd call old expireds. I'd call old rentals. Old expired rentals, because old expired rentals, that's a great listing source. So Mr. Seller, Mr. Owner, Mr. Landlord, sorry. Mr. Landlord, I saw your property just came off the market this morning. I was curious. Did you renew that lease? Or are you maybe considering taking advantage of the market and pulling all of your equity out? Fewer people are making those phone calls. So the old expired rentals are a good source. So to answer your question, mainly it's what most people who are on the phones they call is expireds, old expired, new expireds, old expireds, new FSBOs, old FSBOs, and then just listed, just sold, circle prospecting. I mean, you have like an infinite pool there. It's whatever lists you're purchasing.
And the abandoned child.
What's that?
And the abandoned child.
And the abandoned child's call. Yeah. So when I had asked earlier about who's buying, a car, a TV, jewelry, traveling tickets, my point behind that exercise is you're going to call people, especially with the just listed, just sold, circle prospecting, that they don't need to sell. That's like you might not want to buy a car. So if you call somebody, they say that they don't need to sell, let's move on. It's a contact. You just go to the next contact. You don't really get fazed by it. When I think of goals and when I think of my contact goal, you know who I think of? I don't think of the seller. This might sound cruel. I don't think of the seller. If they bash you, they say whatever they say to you. I think of my family. I think of my goals. That's what's important to me, not the fuck you lowlife. What are you doing calling me at this time? I didn't say I cursed and I cursed. I apologize for that. But that's what you're going to hear on the phone. People are going to say all kinds of things to you. And is that going to hurt you? No, I think of my goals, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. You're just getting me one contact closer to reaching my goal. So thank you for being mean. And you learn to play with the people who are mean with you. If somebody's ridiculously angry on the phone, I say, wow, you sound pretty upset. Is it because your house didn't sell? Fuck you, yeah, fuck me. You're right, man. And you're thinking, are they still there? And if they're still there, I have a chance, right? You keep going. And as you can tell, I'm reading my script because I don't want to miss anything this morning, so I'm scripted too. I'm just going off my notes here. So why don't agents call? Fear. Fear was like a unanimous wave. Fear. Anything else?
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence. Okay. What was the third one?
Lack of cabinet. You have instruction for example, in your calendar.
Okay, so like just not being a priority for you. Okay? Yeah, that definitely could be one. I see a hand back there.
They don't know what to say.
They don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you. Those are the top two. Fear and don't know what to say. Can I be real with you all? You know what fear I have? Being broke. I get emotional just thinking about it. That's my fear. Somebody saying, F you? Come on. Who gives a you know what? Fear? No. Focus on what your priority and why you're doing what you're doing. What's your why? What's your why? Each one of you has a why in here. What's your why? Find that why so that when you feel that fear, I'm going to make just one more call. I'm going to make just one more call. You know, my goal today was 10, 15, whatever your goal number is. I'm going to make just one more call to get closer to that 10. So that's how I feel about fear. It doesn't exist. The fear of the prospect doesn't exist. The other fears are real. Not having money to put gas in your car. Not having money to pay your mortgage payment that's coming up. Not money to pay for your kids' education. You fill in the blank what your fear could be. Every one of us has a fear. And when you're doing real estate for the money, right? You're not doing it for the love of speaking to people and having them mistreat you all the time. You have a goal in doing real estate, and it's usually financial. So when you have that fear, remind yourself, what is my why? Why am I even doing this? And you get back to that. That'll help push you on through. Now, not knowing what to say. Thank you, Michael, for not knowing what to say. So if not knowing what to say is one of them, figure out what to say. Figure out what to say. And when I say, know what to say, you say, okay, where do I find that? It's in the word book on your desk. So those scripts that are on your desk, those are the scripts I use. And we'll go over the scripts shortly, but those are the scripts that I use. Nothing's downloaded from any other coaching company. Those are the scripts that made me a lot of money. And Miguel, what you said about the schedule, that was the number 3 that I have here on my list. That was the number 3. And how is it an issue? If you're not talking to people, how could you have any progress? And your calendar is going to be the base of how much business you do. There's something called creative avoidance. And I know there's a psychological term that Marcus shared with me the other day. There's something called creative avoidance. You know what creative avoidance is? Creative avoidance is when you have a task at hand, which is hitting your 15 contacts, 20 contacts, whatever that contact number is, and then something just happens to pop up. It could be, you know what, let me just look for this thing on Amazon really quick. Or my mom's calling me. Or my friend's calling me. What can come up in your lives? Please just shout it out. What could pop up that would take you away from prospecting that you could give as an example of creative avoidance? Publix.
I gotta go Publix real quick.
I've got to put up a sign. I've got to put up a lockbox.
An inspection.
An inspection. Meeting the appraiser. Do you think the appraiser cares what we give them? Any papers? I've seen them throw it away. They don't care for it. So that's just an example, right? Is going on, whether it's photography sessions, sometimes you have to make it, and I get it. But for the most part, those are examples of creative avoidance. You know what's the number 1 creative avoidance tool, thing, problem, issue? Social media, that would be a huge one. Let me see if I have it here. I don't. It's a cell phone.
Notifications.
A phone call or a ding? A phone call or a ding? That's going to take you away from prospecting. And once you take that phone call, you speak to that person on the phone for whatever time you speak to them, how long does it take you to get back on track? To get in the mode that you were just in? At least 15 minutes. And imagine if that happens to you 5, 6, 7 times during your prospecting session. Oh my God, it's 12 o'clock already. I've made 2 contacts. But you know what? I had 15, 20 contacts goal. I've made 2 before 12. I'm going to make it up in the evening. Evening doesn't come. I'll make it up tomorrow. Tomorrow you don't make up those contacts. This is vicious cycle of you missing out on your contacts. And then to get to that 150 just turns into a monster. I'll let you all stew on that one for a moment. So I'd like to go over the agenda for the day. Normally my first meeting would be 15, 20 minutes, and then we'd just be off on the phones prospecting. But I kind of extended it a little bit, because I have to extend. All right, so if you look at your workbook, the agenda that you see there, throw it in the garbage. Because we're not doing any of that. So going through the workbook period, is there another workbook? Is there another one or no?
Yeah, this one.
Thank you. What's that? Another one. There's no more? What I'll do is that I'll email you, whoever would like this PDF version. If you want to come up here, you can share this one with Mary, and then what I'll do, what's that? What I'll do is that I'll actually just pull it up on the screen. We'll go through it page by page. That's my, this is going to take me longer. Let me see a workbook.
I gave my last one.
Your last one. Could I borrow yours?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. All right, so I'll just set it here. So if we go through this workbook, we have on the back, I printed on the back to try to save on paper. So the back is the congratulations, page 2. Page 3 is the disclaimers on the Real Estate Association and TCPA. And then we have a table of contents, which kind of outlines everything that's in this workbook. Then we have the day camp, boot camp daily agenda, which I said is what you can pretty much just put in the shredder. Prospecting boot camp worksheet. That's what your goals are for the prospecting boot camp. I hope that you all, after this, you see value in what I'm sharing, and you'd want to jump into the 1-day or 2-day boot camps. So this is the form that you would fill the day that you come to the boot camp on what you're hoping to get out of your session there. At a minimum, I would want you each to set 1 to 2 appointments a day. That's at a minimum. Affirmations. So there's sometimes when our mind just gets in a funk, right? Gets in a funk. I recommend pulling out these affirmations and just reading them to keep just feeding your mind. Let's see. So there's one that's not here that I was looking to see if it was here. While we're making calls in the boot camp, what I keep saying as the instructor is when you're calling people, they're home, they're happy, they want to hear from me. They're home, they're happy, they want to hear from me. They're home, they're happy. You might want to write that one down. They're home, they're happy, they want to hear from me. You can change the last one for whatever you want. They're home, they're happy, they want to welcome me into their house. And kind of going off on a tangent, have you all thought about how crazy it is what we do? We speak to a complete stranger on the phone. Within 4 minutes, 7, 10 if it takes you long, 10 minutes, we have a conversation to go into their house and sit at their dining room table. And they're going to pay us, depending on the price point, $15,000 to $75,000 on a phone call you made. It is nuts what we do. He laughs because you know it's true.
It's awesome.
I don't know about you all, but when somebody knocks on my door, I get annoyed. Who's knocking on my door? Why are they knocking on my door? somebody trying to sell me like some lawn treatment or water filters or whatever they're trying to sell me, right? But we take it a step further. Not only do we go into their house, but they commit to going on a journey with us, because a lot of times it's a journey. You turn into a psychologist, moving company, you turn into everything. Right, so what we do, I think, is very special in that sense. So having the affirmations, when you're making phone calls, put on a sticky pad, put it wherever, a message in front of you. They're home, they're happy, they want to meet with me. They're home, they're happy, they want to give me their business. That just keeps you online.
On that note, on the psychology note, I just had an ex-buyer that I called, and she was totally traumatized by the fact that she has been on the market for so long with different realtors and did not. I mean, I didn't know how to handle it. You could tell that she was totally nervous. So I didn't know how to handle that, and I still don't know how to follow up.
Okay. So that's just basically one of those of not knowing what to say. And what she said is that she spoke to a seller, had been listed multiple times, discouraged, and she wasn't sure how to handle that. So Mrs. Seller, I can hear in your voice, you are incredibly frustrated with the process of getting your property sold. Yeah, and then they just unload, whatever they say. If you don't mind me asking, can anybody fill in the blank here? Where do you plan on going next? You don't mind me asking, are you buying something bigger, smaller, or simply moving out of town as many families have been doing? But you have a moment to keep that phone call going, a moment. And if not, then you lose all that you have, and then you fold, you give in. Okay, sorry, bye. Or you could know what to say and collect from escrow a check for $15,000 45 days later. So knowing these scripts is powerful. So going back to the workbook, I do have a second page of affirmations. I didn't even realize that. And that's what it says on the affirmations page. Is they're home, they're happy, they want to sell their home. Then we have a new expired script, old expired script, just listed, just sold. Sorry. New expired, yeah. Old, just listed, just sold. Past client, SOI, COI script. Script for new agent to friends, where you kind of just introduce yourself to your friends. New to real estate, I've got some great opportunities, some great deals I may be able to turn you on to. And then you just keep going through it. And then a friend script where you feel like you have absolutely nothing to say. So yes, I'll go through each script one by one, but that's the friend script. And what's funny is that this script I did with Miguel at our last boot camp, we kind of just pieced it together. Because when you come to these boot camps, you do have to come with leads. Who are you going to call? So are you going to call expired? Are you going to call for sale by owners? Are you going to call just listed, just sold? If you're making a day full of phone calls, if you don't have a system, just try to figure out or speak to me on what you could do to find numbers, because you're going to have to call a lot of people. Or you can just have a phone with a lot of contacts and use your friend script on every single person. You have professionals that you give them business. You have services that you give them business. Come back and ask them for business.
Hairdressers.
Hairdressers, like a list of 100 people that you can call that you do business with. Ask them for their business. Or they can call you and tell you, guess what? Got great news, I just found a house. Ah! So there's a friend script. And that's the one that you use when you feel like you have nothing to say. I'd rather use this than not use anything. I saw a hand go up.
Did you break like the days for the client process? You pick Facebook page, new.
When I was calling religiously, I would have, like I had my list, my calling directive. Each day start off the same, but depending on the day, I would call a different audience. Like I had, for example, like my Fun Friday where I wouldn't call a listing that was less than $2 million. So that was my Friday. I'm gonna call just super high-end stuff and work on that. Then Monday or Tuesday can be after you go through your phone calls, your regular, so for me, it was new expireds, hot leads, then FSBOs if you're calling FSBOs. You have the top 3 or 4 that you do often, that you just call often. And then you have the 5th and the 6th, where if you want to fill your contacts in, you may have to do just listed, just sold, circle type prospecting just to hit your contact goal. Did I answer your question?
At the normally start?
When I was calling expireds, I'd call at 7:30. Yeah.
And role playing at 7, right?
And role playing right before. Ideally, role play at 7. Thank you.
New expires at 7:30.
I call new expires at 7:30. You know what they say about 8? 8's too late. They're either saying F you, or worse, they just won't answer their phone. You know what's hilarious to me is when a seller answers the phone and they say, "You're the 6th realtor to call me. I'm tired of you calling me." I say, "The 6th?" They're like, "The 6th? You mean to tell me that there's 60,000 realtors in Miami-Dade County and only 6 of us are doing our business today?" They're not going to hang up on you. They're not going to hang up on you. So, yes. All right, so then I have here a default response script for no's. Because most of these scripts that we have here, the idea is to go through the script and to let the person that you're role playing with to set the appointment, right? Because you want the person, you don't want them getting off the role play dialogue and they feel bad. You made them feel bad. You threw the screwball objection at them, they couldn't handle it. Or when you try setting the appointment, they say no, and then that's not the idea. But anyways, the scripts are all, as we do them, you'll see that they all have the appointment ending, the happy ending. But the reality is, most people are going to say no. I mean, if you think about it, let's say you get better on the phone. 99 are going to say no. 95 are going to say no, because there's going to be some appointments that you're going to set, and then they're going to call you back and say, "I just listed with somebody else." They're going to say whatever they say. They're just going to cancel. So that's all normal. And then I have here a pre-qual script. So how often should you pre-qualify a seller before you go out to the house? How often? Every single time? 4 times?
I'm going to take you back a second.
Sure.
It was 7:30 for expired. Is that the time you called everybody else, or did you have different times?
It depends on how many expireds there were for the day. Right? Well, new expireds. 7:30. Come hell or high water, I was dialing at 7:30 every single day. Now I have a different system. I'm doing more lead follow-up because I'm generating more leads, but that's something else. But generally speaking, yeah.
That doesn't conflict with the TCPA rules, and then do not call us?
What doesn't?
You cannot call anybody else, anybody before 8 in the morning?
I don't know, does it?
That's what the rule is.
Okay. So as per TCPA, you cannot call before 8.
No. The TCPA rules, there's a class. I'm
Okay,
not an attorney, and I'm just asking you as an instructor. You're saying to call at 7:30. Does that conflict with the TCPA rules?
I'm not saying to call at 7:30. I was asked what time did I call.
Okay. So you're suggesting?
I'm not saying call at 7:30. I'm not saying knock on somebody's door at 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting anything.
Got it. I misunderstood you.
No, that's cool.
I thought that you suggested that it was good call to start at 7:30.
No. Good question.
How often would you follow up if they didn't answer? Like, was there like a system where on your follow-up?
There's some rules that some agents have is that they'll follow up with somebody 4 times,
Okay.
3. For me, it just depends. It depends on the circumstance. Like if somebody's going to sell in a year, I'm probably calling them every month. So that would be, what, 10, 11, 12 times? So depending on the circumstance. But if somebody's not answering you, how many times do you call them? That's a really good question. You have to establish a limit.
I meant it on the cold calling, because you're right. If you're,
Oh, cold calling once.
okay.
Well, as I go through the cycle.
And then
If it's a new expired, I'm calling them on that round. And then if they don't answer, I'm going to my next segment, whatever I'm calling after that.
right, but then the next day you were not expired or for sale by owner.
Then you'd go to whatever other, whether it's just listed, just sold, your other leads Because what I have found is that if you don't get an expired, my experience, if you don't get an expired, the first day they come out, one of the first agents to call them. If you try calling them 2, 3, 4 days later, good luck getting them on the phone. They're probably not going to answer their phone. They're going nuts. Could it happen? Yeah. I'm a probabilities kind of guy. If I feel like 2, 3, 4, 5 days after they're not going to answer the phone, I'll just keep calling new expireds or somebody else where I have a higher probability of closing and getting paid.
So you were saying, a question, is new expires, then regular expired after that, right?
Correct.
Hot leads, Facebook, so what was the other one? I missed.
The just listed, just sold? Does anybody here not know what just listed, just sold means? Okay. Thank you for your honesty. So just listed is, whether it's your inventory, your listing, or somebody you work with in your office. Hello, my name is Chris. We just listed a property on 123 Southwest 16th Street. And it's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. The owner's asking $640,000, and it has these upgrades. That's the just listed script in there. By any chance, do you know of anybody who's looking to move into Strawberryville? Whatever community. No? All right, great. Then just keep going down the script. That's a just listed one. Just sold is, hello, Mr. Seller. We just sold a property 3 doors down from you a couple weeks ago, and continue the same exact script as the just listed. Then there's circle prospecting, whereas you're just calling a zip code. You're just calling wherever. You're not necessarily, it's not a specific individual you're calling. It's more so a large pool. We are very fortunate to live in a county that's as big as this one. We live in a huge county. I mean, how many homeowners are there? It's almost infinite. You could be on the phone. I don't care if you're on the phone the rest of your life, every single day, making 50 contacts. You're not going to reach everybody. So when it comes to reaching out to that expired, having to call them back, it doesn't matter. There's plenty more people to call. So did I answer your question on the order?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the fourth and fifth one,
That's in the order that you suggested?
the fourth and fifth, I would swap out the fourth and fifth. The fourth and fifth would be, again, if I'm whale hunting. Or if I say, you know what, these 2 days, I'm going to crush my past clients. So Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to do my regular order, then past clients, and then Wednesday, I'm going to do reaching out to my service providers. It's like, okay, you're giving a title company business. You're giving an appraiser business, an inspection company. When I say appraiser, it's because, not that if you're not on the lending side, sometimes somebody just wants to know what their house is worth. And then you refer them an appraiser. You have no benefit from that transaction whatsoever. But you, in good faith, you referred an appraiser the transaction. It would behoove you to call that appraiser. Hello, Mr. Appraiser. Chris here. Been a while we speak. Did you get that appraisal done for John Gonzalez? Yeah, I did. You know what? You are top of mind for me. Whenever I think of transactions, whenever I think of appraisals, I think of you. Can you please think of me the next time that you have a real estate sales referral? And I know that you have an agent that you work with. My question is, please put me in the mix. Put me in the mix. If you refer one agent all of your business, just give me 1 out of every 5 or 4 or 3. And if you keep making that phone call and they don't refer you any business, you should start having coffee with appraisers. You have a coffee with an appraiser, you sit down with them and you say, look, I'm in the networking business. I want a relationship that's mutually beneficial. Do you have a relationship with a real estate agent that would prohibit you from from referring me business? What relationship could that be? Husband, wife, son, daughter. Just one of those that you're not going to break through that one. And if they say yes, then you'd probably move on. You may want to ask that question. You pre-qualify that appraiser before you even have coffee with them to establish that there's nobody there. And if they say that they don't have a relationship, then you sit down with the appraiser. And imagine if you were to do that with the inspection company you work with, the lender, every single service that you have, handymen, contractors, I don't care who it is. If you were to reach out to them and say, I'm referring you business. Can you reciprocate? Because the truth is, if that you become the resource for them, how many leads can immigration attorney, family attorney, a probate attorney, an inspection company, how many leads can you get a year, especially with the attorneys? The attorneys is a huge one. They can refer you a transaction a month, one every 2 months. But if you wouldn't have made that phone call to the sphere, you would have lost that one. I know it's a long-winded question to the calling directive on the order of calls, but that could be one of your days where you just say, I'm going to call the people I refer business to. And I'm going to, let's just say it for what it is. I'm going to hit them up for business. I'm giving them business. You need to hand me some business too. And if you're giving them business, obviously the service has to be there, right? That's the reality of it. They have to provide great service to your clients. Even if they're referring you business, if they're not providing great service to your clients, you're not going to refer them. Who cares? Because you're going to service their clients too. So SOI. And you can play with the directive in the days, but yeah. Yes?
How many days after just sold or just listed?
So the question is, how many days after the just listed, the just sold, or the just listed? I guess either one. The answer kind of would apply to either one. It doesn't really matter. I would even call a neighbor. What I would do is that when I would go pending with a listing, I would find the 10 neighbors around the house. And after this, we'll go to break, because I know I've been going on for a bit. I'd call 10 houses around the one that I just pended or just listed or just sold, especially just listed and just pended. Those are two good ones there. I'd find the 10 phone numbers. I'd speak to the homeowners. Hey, I just listed the house right next door to you. Do you know the Johnson family? Yeah. How about yourself? Do you have any interest? If it's not sold, I'd pitch them the house first, offer them the house, because a lot of times the neighbor buys the house. Can you imagine if you have a listing and the neighbor comes with another agent? Like, why didn't I speak to them? So when you take the listing, you can knock on their door, right? But normally I'd get the 10 and I'd call them all, because you could pick up listings like that. So it doesn't matter. If it went under contract, I say instead of being just listed or just sold, I would say, I just went under contract with the property. We may have buyers that your house may be a match for. Do you have any interest in selling your home? So it doesn't matter the stage.
So what system are you using for your phone calls? Does it verify whether you do not call list?
The system does verify numbers around the do not call list. Yes, it does. Most of the platforms, there's Mojo, there's RedX, there's Vulcan. I mean, there's a ton of dialers out there, and they all pretty much do the same thing. Sir?
Do they also check the Florida do not call?
I just know that if it's on the do not call list, I'm assuming it's in Florida, because these service providers, they're providing me, for example, contact information for just Dade County. So.
You mentioned Vulcan, and which other?
There's Vulcan 7. We're going to talk about the 5. I have no interest in any of these companies. I used for many, many, many years Vulcan 7. That was my go-to dialer. Vulcan 7, then there's Mojo, there's RedX. Mojo's like Mojito, M-O-J-O. RedX, and there's a couple other dialers out there. Espresso and, yeah, there's one. It's just like Vulcan. So from this first session, does anyone have anything that they'd like to share as far as to what their takeaways might be? What did you pick up from the first session?
I only have half of it, but you said I am directly responsible for the results that I have on the phone. You said something after that.
I can't say I remember.
So if I don't call, something to that effect.
Correct. So again, my belief is I'm completely in charge of my goals, my results, right? So if I don't make my contacts, and not that I mean to be dramatic, but I'm hurting my family, right? So I need to step up. And that just goes through my mind. One more call. I set out to make X amount of contacts today. I'm not going to stop until I make that call. Not pushing it. I spoke about that earlier. Do not push your contacts. Never, ever push your contacts. Let that be the isolated incident. Don't let that be the habit, the pattern. Because at the end of the week, you're going to fall short. Make it a habit. And accountability, you can have it at a super high level to where if you have to make a certain amount of contacts by the end of the week, and if you haven't, you hand somebody a check for $500, $1,000, and if you don't make it, they cash it. Or I don't care what your political preference is, write a check out for $500 to the other party who you can't stand. You'll make your contacts. Whatever drives you, I don't care what it is. And you can't make it something to where you donate it to, your charity of choice. Because you may be like, oh, but those puppies are so cute. They could use $500. Whatever, whatever works. So we're going to jump into a role play session since we can. Yes.
When you say contacts, is it people who you speak to and like a spouse, or people you speak to when you get an appointment or you get an email, when you consider okay, spoke to them to say contact?
That's a very, very good question. I'm going to write that down for my next one. Explain what a contact is. Mate, would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, it's a two-way conversation around real estate. That's what I consider.
But so, I mean, if you speak to someone, and they're like, yeah, okay, like I'm thinking about selling my house, and then they hang up on you midway. Is that?
Oh, because when they hang up on you, you call and say, hey, my phone is acting up, I think you got disconnected. And what you're doing there, you're breaking their pattern because they didn't expect such a silly response from you, right?
I'm so sorry, our call just dropped.
Yeah,
My apologies.
Up today, so I always blame it on me, and I set a listing appointment with Facebook that hang up on me multiple times. Because I just, and I bless I have a bunch of extras because it doesn't help. So we have an Excel that we present as a package. Yeah, that's a two-way conversation around real estate.
So thank you for the answer on context. My perspective on contact is, did I relay my message? Did I ask them if you're looking to buy or sell? Did I ask them that? If I accomplish that and then they hang up on me, I'll still count that as a contact. If they say whatever they say, doesn't matter if it's leading to a no. I'd count that as a contact. There is the belief that you only, not the belief, the train of thought, the train of school, that it only counts as a contact the first time you call them. If you call them back as lead follow-up, it's not considered a contact. So that's that on contacts. So I want to jump into a role play session. Yes?
Well, one of the things that I was concerned that I have trouble is following up.
Okay.
How do you follow up? Like, for instance, I don't know. I try to do everything.
Are you door knocking at 6:30?
Fine. Well, in the afternoon.
Okay.
So this guy said, okay, I don't know 100 hours that day.
You door knocked on how many houses?
100.
100. Wow, good for you.
So well, of course, not everybody opened the door, but one of them that
You'd knock and run?
when they don't open the door, I just leave my door handle.
Okay.
So this guy said he was watching the car when they're outside. So he said, I'm interested to sell my house. Then he said, I started asking questions. Why do you have to sell? Where are you moving? Whatever. The thing is that he said, I know my house is worth whatever, but everybody is selling under that price. But I want $1 million plus. The point is that I tried to get him in the conversation and get me inside the house, but he didn't. He just took me to the backyard. And then I tried to get his contact information. He didn't give it to me. He just said, I call you, give me your card. The point is that I get into the system and whatever, I got his phone number, and I call him. And I say, hey, do you remember me?
Hey, remember when you were washing your car? I was a real estate agent who was behind you.
I told him that. Remember you were with your kids, I was at your house the other day, blah, blah, blah. He said,
Oh, yes, I remember you are busy.
Yeah.
I call you back. He never called me back. So the next step I did is make some, that was like a month ago, a month and a half ago. So the next step I did is I prepared postcards for Father's Day. And I mail it to him. I'm just waiting for it to do it. But I don't know what else to do to follow up.
I've got one word for you. Next! Super next. Ultra next. Hardcore next. I mean, how many people own a home in this county? I wouldn't put all that effort into that one person. Especially since he's turning you away multiple times. And the reason why he's turning you away is he did not see value in your conversation. He didn't see value. Because if he found enough value, he would have shown you his house and he would have done the whole thing. But if he doesn't see the value, if a prospect doesn't see the value, you're not going to be able to get a hold of them again.
But what if he's just not ready yet? And
He said that his house is worth more, so he's engaging in a price conversation.
He wants more money on the houses are ours.
He wants more money than the houses around him. Does that happen to anybody in this room?
Yeah, but he wants a lot of more.
I know. You know what my question is to that seller? If you don't mind me asking, once this property is sold, where are you going to next?
I asked him that.
And then he said?
He wants to go north.
Nice, north, where?
He didn't tell me.
Ah, you weren't convincing enough. He wasn't sold. He didn't find enough value in the conversation. Something was missing there, because somebody who talks to you about their house is worth more than others, if you're engaging in that conversation, that person has interest. You just didn't hook them. Yeah.
So that's the thing that I said I need more confidence, maybe. Maybe they didn't see confidence on me.
Right.
I don't know.
You'll gain that. You'll get that confidence by practicing more and being better scripted. And I'm not saying that in a critical sense. I'm just being honest with the conversation.
And Marcus. In that situation, something that I've done that works a lot is obviously this person's keeping track of the neighborhood sales. They told you my house is worth this, but everybody's selling it for less. So they're obviously keeping track. But what they don't know are the things that we as realtors can know. What can we know? We can know appraised value. We can contact an agent. And if you talk the right way, you ask the right questions, you get friendly enough with an agent will tell me how much a pending sale is. They'll tell me when's the coming up closing date, whether they're going to close early or they're going to close late. The reason I'm telling you this is because when you offer information, people don't care. But when you offer them cheeseman, you offer them gossip, they can't get enough of that. So with that gentleman, I would have said, look, it seems like you're interested in being in the know, like you want to know what's going on. Instead of coming and knocking on your door, why don't I just text you how much that pending sale appraised for? Or if the closing date's coming up earlier, I can text you and let you know. How's that? Let me get your number real quick. And they always give you the number because you're offering gossip. Cheesemate is the key. Frame it as gossip and they want it. Frame it as facts and they're like, whatever, I can get that on my own.
So whoever doesn't speak Spanish, doesn't know what chisme is, it's gossip. He's going the gossip route. The only line that I have for everyone when I speak to them, the only thing that's going through my head, once this property sold, where are you going to next? Once this property sold, where are you going to next? Once this property sold, where are you going to next? Once this property sold, Mr. Seller, where are you going to next? If you take away anything from this not prospecting bootcamp, is once this property sold, where are you going to next? Why? Because their why matters. We don't matter. We're just a vessel to help them accomplish their goals. We get paid really well for helping people accomplish their goals. We get paid when we help them get to the place that they want to get to. It's a larger house. They can't afford the house anymore and they need a smaller house. They need to, relocate to wherever because of whatever reason. That's what we get paid for, is figuring out their why. And that's the reason why I asked that question, is it's why. Once this property sold, where are you going to next? Because that's what drives them. I need to go to Savannah. What are you going to Savannah for? I'm going for a job transfer. What else? This is called peeling layers of the onion off. And you all want to write this down. What else is important to you about whatever the heck they just said? What else is important to you about that move too?
What else is important about what?
What else is important to you about making that move to whatever they said? I had a coach once, and he called it peeling the layers of the onion off, which I thought was beautiful. And then I said, you know what I think about peeling the layers of the onion off is when I think of that term in the context of having a conversation with the seller, what do onions do when you're messing with them?
Cry. Make you cry.
If you ask a second question, people might cry with their explanation. You think it's the first thing they said to you. It's not the first thing that they said to you. I'm moving to Savannah because my mother-in-law, my mom, my brother, he's in, whatever it could be. He's in hospitals, in treatment, whatever the case is. But that's the real reason. And if you wouldn't have asked that question, you'd never uncover it. So when they try to get you off the phone, you go back to what they just finished telling you. No, I think I'm going to wait. Oh, you're going to wait on seeing your brother who's, in intensive care in Savannah? You're going to wait for that? Why don't we do this? I know it might be premature. Let's just sit down, and we can go over what your property's worth and show you what your options are. No commitment. No commitment, no obligation, us just sitting down. It's me just sitting with you and showing you what your options are. Peeling layers of the onion off. What is it that's important to you about whatever they just said to you? I want a 5-bedroom house. What's important to you about that 5-bedroom house? Well, I just want more space. Okay, that's cool, you want more space. When you say you want more space, you mean more bedrooms, a larger lot size, what is it? You could come to find out that he has an office space, she has an office space, they can't afford it, and they want to move their business into the garage. And that business is killing them. They can't afford it anymore. But they're not going to tell you that because people don't expose their cards that quickly. But you will if you keep asking them the questions.
In that scenario, if he didn't provide her with his contact information, when you were remind, and you get his email and send him an email with a CMA, is that allowed?
I don't know if it's allowed or not. If it complies with TCPA, I wouldn't even put any effort into that. I'm next. There's so many people you can talk to. Just next. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll hunt somebody down if it's like an abandoned house in like the most amazing neighborhood. I'll mail to that person. I'll call that. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes for that unique incident. But where somebody's like, as they say in Spanish, sacudiendo. Somebody's brushing you off, I'm on to the next. This last question, then we're going to jump into the role play.
Probably a little bit off topic, but do you ever say no to a listing once you've got an appointment and it's just not a good fit for whatever reason? Do you say no?
Yes. More often than not, I'll say no during my pre-qual, and I won't even go. And there's times when, and I'm sure a lot of agents who have been on multiple listing presentations, you'll make that decision at the time of the table when you're sitting with them. When should you take a listing if the property is overpriced? I see a hand over there.
When you want to farm the area.
When you want to farm the area. Any other answers? When should you take a listing if it's overpriced? This is an important question. I see a hand back there. You.
When he has a pain.
When what?
When the seller has a pain,
When the seller has a pain.
Yeah, he needs to move. It's unrealistic. When the times goes by and he needs to sell, that
Correct. So you're gauging their motivation, basically, right? You're gauging their motivation. I will take, before I answer, I see 4 fingers up there. Maybe 5.
When in additional terms on listing agreement, you put within 2 or within 3 weeks, or
Correct.
July, we're going to improve the price to this number. So
Right.
instead of calling and asking for price improvement, you call to notify per our agreement as of today, the price is going to be this.
Right. So what Mata's speaking of is you take the listing, and in the additional terms of the listing agreement, you put that they agree upfront to reduce the price of their house by X, whatever that number is. And then you could even go the additional and say if it hasn't sold in 4 weeks, that you would adjust the price. To sellers, you never say reduce. It's always adjust. Reposition. So you have language and listing agreement to where you do that, where you just keep assuring that the listing goes on track to be able to sell it. So if the motivation is high enough, I will take an overpriced listing. If the pain is there. People sell for one of two reasons. I'll tell you what the two reasons are to not bore you. One is they sell because they're motivated. They need to. There's a pain. There's something behind them that's forcing them to sell. The second reason a seller sells is downright pure greed. Greed. How does that sound on the phone when you're speaking to somebody? Hey, Miss L, I'm going to come out to see you, at 5 o'clock today. Before I come out, you go through the pre-qual, a few questions. Then when you get to the question of how much you're looking to list your home for, let's say the home is worth $500,000, and they say, I want $1 million. Or it's worth 800, and they say $1 million. Nobody here has ever heard a seller say something like that, right? So, okay, so if they're that high overpriced, are you going to take the listing if they're not motivated? They're going to cause you a lot of grief, is what they're going to do. They're going to cause you incredible grief. And if you keep doing that, what's going to happen is that you're going to take a ton of listings. And when somebody asks you, okay, you have 4 listings, 10 listings, 15 listings. From those listings, how many can you sell? And you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. How many of these listings can I sell? Because what could have happened is that you took all of these listings that were unsellable. An unmotivated seller, what happens when you ask them for a price adjustment?
No way.
So when you're pre-qualing them, you go through these questions, and if red flags just keep coming up, at the end of the conversation about Mrs. Seller, based on what you're asking for and your level of motivation, I don't think I'm the right fit. I'll stay in touch with you. I'll add you to market reports where every month, every 2 weeks, you'll see what your property's worth. And if I can ever help you in the future, please let me know. Or if you're stubborn and you want to go to the listing appointment to see if maybe you can get something out of it, there might be a chance, there might be hope that I can get it. You go to the listing appointment, and then there you realize this person's crazy. They have nowhere to go. There's nothing. I think that's also a huge sign, is when you ask them where you're going, they say, I don't know. I'll sell first, and then I'll figure it out. Who does that? That's like saying, I'm going to put my car for sale, and the buyer says, what are you going to do with the other car? I haven't found another car yet. Just take this one. I'm going to be left walking? Who does that? Who sells their home? I'll tell you who does that, who lists it without knowing where they're going next, is a greedy seller. If you're looking at levels of motivation from 1 to 10, in this market, if the seller's not an 8, don't even take it. You might twist my arm and I might say 7, but if they're not an 8, 9, or 10, what do you want when you take the listing? What does everybody want? To sell it. You're not selling a house that's 6 and lower. That whole market of putting a house in the market and you thinking, wow, that was really high. And then you get $30,000 above that market price, above the price that they asked for. That's not this market. No way.
Can you
Yes.
give some examples of what a motivated seller why they would sell, what would make them motivated?
The top 2 that I can think of is death, divorce. Death, divorce. And sometimes even finding a bigger house isn't enough of a motivation. Finding a smaller house sometimes isn't enough because there's what they call a golden handcuff, especially with this market. There's a golden handcuff in the sense of where you can sell your home, you can get a lot of money for your home in Miami, but you had a 3% interest rate, a 2% interest rate. So if you go to buy a property now, you're paying how much money? You can't afford buying because your rate is so low. You're locked into your own house. So motivation, there has to be some kind of pain. There has to be motivation. I've heard people implementing in their pre-qual, they ask the seller, what's your level of motivation? They'll tell you. I know if I want to sell my house, somebody asks me what's my level of motivation, I'm a 10. I'm a 9 or a 10. There's no 5. I kind of want to sell. It's
Like that testing the market.
Oftentimes, when I talk to a potential seller, and they'll say their motivation, I kind of feel like they're not telling me the truth. I kind of feel that sometimes some sellers they don't want to seem desperate to sell because then they figure that I might present lowball offers and try to get them, you know, so it's very common for somebody to tell me, I'm not in a hurry to sell, I can wait. And that may not be true because I'm just a realtor, they're not going to tell me everything because if they tell me everything, they kind of lose power.
I'm hearing agreement, a consensus of agreement in the room with that.
Especially in the Latin culture. In the Latin culture, we really don't want to show our cards. It's very ingrained in us that the more we hold back, the more control over the situation we have.
I kind of think that that's human nature. I mean, who wants to expose their wants, needs, desires, pains? Who wants to?
Yeah.
No one wants to. But how do you find it out? Asking questions. Asking questions. Just keep asking questions. Keep peeling layers of that onion off. You will eventually get there. And there's some people, based on their personality, you just may not be able to get there, and it is. But one more. One more question to uncover. Just one more. You know what? This happens with expireds. Before you hang up, I have just one more question to hang up yet. Just one more. Before you know, I'm sitting in their dining table taking their listing. Just one more question. You didn't mention blah, blah, blah. That's a pattern interrupt, right? Stop, don't hang up yet. Just one more question. Last question, we're on to role play.
On the expireds, do you schedule them for that very same day? Like,
I'll be in their house in 15 minutes.
okay.
I'm exaggerating. As long as it would take me to physically prepare a listing package, that's how fast I'm going there. I made a call once at 8:30. I took the listing at 10.
Okay. What do you bring in your listing package?
I bring a picture of myself and my poodle, how great I am, that I'm the king of the neighborhood. None of that nonsense. My listing presentation is ridiculously basic. And I'm going to go over my listing presentation right now very, very quick, because this is a quick one. So, Mr. Seller, I'm going to show you 4 things today. What your house is worth, why it is that I feel qualified to help you get your property sold. We're going to go over what you're actually going to net in the contract. We'll go over the terms of the contract. If by the end of that contract it all makes sense, and you feel 100% sure I can get your property sold, I'm going to ask you to give me the listing, to sell your property. Is that good? Then I go through each one. That's it. I'm big on simplicity. If you look at my scripts, they're ridiculously short. I like short scripts. I can do short scripts. Long scripts, they make me sick to my stomach. I need it to make sense, logical. Okay. So, price. My experience is 2. 3 is the contract, and 4 is what they're going to net. Now I have like a 1-page sheet. Mr. Seller wants, $500,000. I just go writing notes. And I keep those notes. Those notes are very valuable. Because if you take the listing and you told them it was worth $500 and they say they want to list it for $600, when you go to ask for a price adjustment, remember, Mr. Seller, maybe I'll email it to them in advance. When we spoke, I had mentioned to you that your property was overpriced, and that's why you're not getting any activity in your property. But that's my listing presentation, is keeping it super simple, because the simpler I keep it, the more I can focus on my dialogue with the person. Okay, so let me look at this sheet here, and we'll jump into the first. We'll do a role play because I think it's important for us to go back and forth. So if you don't have the PDF, if you don't have the printout, I'd like to role play with someone. Mate, can you volunteer? Is that a no? I can ask somebody else.
I mean, if someone else wants, this is the perfect time to do it.
I would want to role play this with somebody who role plays and who prospects already, to make my life easier. So is that Chris back there? Cool name. So we'll start from the top. So ring ring. Yes, hello. I'm looking for Chris. Yes, I am. Am I the first agent to call you? What's wrong with? I'm not sure what's wrong with everybody else, but the reason why I'm calling is to figure out how I can possibly help you. So Chris, once this property sold, I'm off script, am I? It's just natural conversation, right? I'm not going to look at the script. So Chris, once this property sold, where are you going to next?
We're supposed to move to
Move to where?
Different area.
A different area. Okay, cool. So we say a different area. Do you mean locally, like in South Florida, or you mean like out of state?
Yeah, the kids are going to different schools, so he's getting that school district.
Very nice, very nice. Well, congrats. When you say a different school district, Chris, which school district are you talking about?
So the Shelly Park area, David Fairchild.
Shenley Park.
Yeah.
Those areas you mentioned are fantastic areas. If I were you, I'd probably want to move into those areas too. Congrats on that. And Chris, how soon do you want to make this move to secure? Because I know this could be time sensitive, right, for you, Chris, right? Because you've got to secure the home to be able to register for the school, to be in the school district. So ideally, when do you want to have that new home already purchased?
Well, we were trying to get it done before the kids start school, so we went into something. So I guess we have the summer to get it done now.
Oh, you mean like now?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, Chris, just by you saying that illustrates that you and I should get together as soon as possible to make that happen. Do you have any idea, Chris, I'm totally off script, but I'm going to keep going with it. Do you have any idea, Chris, how long it takes a property to sell in this market?
We were on the market for 6 months.
6 months, right. And it didn't sell. Right, so a property that's priced well, in line with the market, is selling in about 60 days. Did you know that?
60 days?
60 days, if it's priced right. Okay. So with it being 60 days, how long do you think your financing is going to take for you to find a property?
Can you repeat that?
How long do you think it's going to take for you to find a property and to secure your financing?
Probably about 3 months.
It could be, you know, depending on the lender, 30 to 60 days on average. That's a total of 4 months. So today is June 13th, Friday the 13th. Today is June 13th. 4 months from June 13th is, and I'm using my fingers if the person's in front of me, July, August, September, October. If you move in October, would that be okay with getting your kids in school on time?
It's not ideal. It would be what it is, but it's not ideal for further purchase.
Chris, can I tell you what the good news is?
What's that?
I can get you in the house before your kids start school. No, I know so. Is today at 1 or 3 o'clock better for you?
Let me ask my wife.
Okay, so you want to ask your wife. You know what? I'm married also. Sorry for the noise. I'm married also, and I have the same discussions in my house. It's a 2-person household. We respect each other's decisions. I'd do the same thing if I were in your shoes. Is she as motivated as you are to move to Shenley Park, to have your kids in the school district on time, to make sure everything's good on that end?
It was her idea.
It was her idea. Fantastic. Is she in the area right now?
Yeah, she's there.
Can you put speakerphone so I can connect with her also?
Give me a minute, sure.
Right. Then I just get the wife on the phone. If she's not there, can you get her on a conference call? And if not, I would set the appointment, pre-qualify. At the end of my pre-qual, there's a question that says, it should be there.
Well, all
20. Will all decision makers be present for my appointment? If he says whatever he says, I'm going to say, can you give me your wife's phone number? Because I know it's going to be super awkward for me to show up at your house and she has no idea who the heck I am. So provide me your phone number. I'll just call to introduce myself. That's my only intention behind that phone call, is just to introduce myself. And what I'll do is I'll send you by email a short video introducing myself, along with my credentials. You can see what I have in the market, what I've sold, and reviews from other sellers, just like yourself, that have used my services. So at least you can both virtually meet me in the meantime. Because I'm going to see you in 3 hours anyways. I mean, your wife does want to sell this property and get there on time, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. Will she be home at 1 or at 3? 3. Let's do 3 o'clock then. Before I come out, Chris, there's a few questions I was hoping to ask you, just to make sure that I'm 100% prepared for our appointment. Would now be okay?
Sure.
Jump into the prequel. But let's go back to the exercise and the role play. What happens is that you're going to go off script. If the conversation goes somewhere, you're going to say, no, hold on. You were at number 3. It's not going to happen. There's 3 elements that you need when you're on a phone call. Write this down. You have to write this down. Each one of you. Why, where, when? Why, where, when? Why, where, when? Why, where, when? I don't care about a script. I don't care if you forget the entire script, the whole script. If you remember why, where, when, have a Post-it note on your desk, under your monitor, wherever. Why, where, when you're speaking to somebody. Why are you looking to sell your property? Once this property is sold, where are you going to next? By when do you have to be there? If you have those 3 questions, you've conquered that phone call. Why, where, when? I've mentioned simplicity. I'm big on simplicity. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go through a new expired script. I'll read it through, and then I'd like you just to pair up with whoever you'd like. And if somebody's left over, then I'll pick up that person. But I'll just go through it. So, hello. And if somebody answers the phone, I know we're getting into super minutiae here, but it's important. If somebody answers the phone and they say, hello, I say, hello. I mirror and match exactly what they just said, how they answered the phone. I have a buddy of mine, he's a professional comedian. He's in Jersey. If the person answers the phone with a Jamaican accent, he speaks with a Jamaican accent. It doesn't matter what country they're from, he can duplicate their accent. I'm like, dude, you're going to get to the house and they're going to see that you're not Jamaican. They're going to see that you're not white. When do you change over? It's hilarious hearing that. Yes. So, mirror and match. Hello, I'm looking for Michael. So it's, hi Michael, my name is Chris, and I'm a local real estate agent with fill in the blank, right? Whoever your company is. I saw your home, and I underlined, bold, italicized it, because I want emphasis on this word. I saw your home just came off the market this morning. I saw your home just came off the market this morning, and I was curious. Did you end up getting it sold? I was curious. This is when acting comes in, seriously. I was curious. Did you end up getting your house sold, or is it still possibly available for sale? Did you end up getting your house sold, or is it possibly available for sale? If you would have sold your home, were you looking for something big or smaller, or are you simply just moving out of town, as many families have been doing? And they say whatever they say. Well, that's great. That's exciting. How soon do you have to be there? If it's an expired. So, Michael, 3 dots means pause. So if you see 3 dots, you create some space in there. So, Michael, what do you think stopped your home from selling? Then they tell you whatever they're going to tell you. And then you say, if I could show you how I can actually net you more money and get your home sold by, or whatever they said in the phone call, when would be ideal for us to connect? Today at 4 or tomorrow at 3? Prior to me coming out, I have a few questions I was hoping to ask you. Would now be okay? When you all look at this script, if you're not calling already, when you all look at the script, what don't you like from it? What just like flips you out? What makes you uncomfortable? What makes you feel nauseous? This is an expired call. This is the call that people avoid. I got no takers?
I think one of the big things is, what if they say, okay, come on over? And then what do you do next?
Before I come out, there's a few questions I was hoping to ask you. Would now be okay?
I'm saying the fear of actually doing it and actually getting it.
Of going on the appointment period? Then you'd want to partner up with somebody who knows what they're doing. My opinion is do not play with $15,000. If you don't know how to present, don't present. Period, end of story. If you have no idea what you're doing, do not present unless you know that script, that listing presentation script, like a beast. If you're not going to take that listing, don't go. Even if you have to split the commission with the person 50-50, whatever arrangement you have with somebody in your office, there's somebody probably in your office, somebody you know, that can help you with that presentation, and you just come up with some kind of split. Yes?
I was going to answer your question number 4. So how soon do you have to be there? What if they say, well, I was on the market for 6 months, quite frankly, we just decided to do something else. We're no longer going to sell. It's no longer important.
You know, Mrs. Seller, it seems to me like you're discouraged. I can sense it in your voice, right, that you didn't get what you wanted. If this property would have sold, where would you have gone to next?
So bring them back.
Always reel them back in. Right? Repeat and approve what they said. Let them know that you're listening to them. You actually paid attention. let them know that you hear them, and then go on to the next question to keep the conversation moving forward. All right, so with that being said, if you can just take turns, one person is a seller, one person is the agent, and we'll do that for maybe 10 minutes. Any questions before you break out into this role play? If you haven't role played before, this is going to feel weird. Let's just be honest, it's going to feel weird, but just go through the steps. And I'll walk through the room as you all are doing it. What did Marco say earlier? Dagnabbit. Be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable. If you haven't prospected before, if you haven't role played, if you haven't done this, it's going to feel weird. But you know what? I'd rather you practice with each other and practice on the public.
So, for the non-prospectors, how did that feel? I'm asking just out of curiosity. It's all good. So, this style of script, the way that it's put together is, as I mentioned earlier, you're setting your tone, right? So it's relatively easy, but it's just getting that muscle, right? Establishing that stamina to where when this type of conversation happens, when the person says yes, you're able to get through the conversation because you're used to it. But there's going to be things that come up in the regular script that aren't going to be in this fashion. And then that's when the why, where, when is going to kick in for you. So you notice that some words are underlined in bold. I want emphasis on those words. So I saw your home just came off the market, late yesterday. I was curious. Did you sell it back then? I'd like you to give a crap, right? Did you sell it? Back then? Oh, this is an older slide. So, did you sell your home, or have your plans changed forever? Just emphasis on that forever. So wherever you see bold when you're speaking, emphasis. And sometimes speed up your dialogue, slow it down, because if not, you sound like a robot. And you turn people off. Do not be monotonous. And when you're calling, smile. Smiling is gigantic. If you can't put a little mirror in your little workstation, when Post-it note, I had a trifold in my area, in my wall, when I prospected. I had my monitors and I had a trifold board. And on that trifold board, I had all of my scripts. So what I'm sharing mostly today is scripts with you guys, but the second component of prospecting is the actual handlers, right? You need to know how to respond when you come up with something. So I'd have my scripts and then my handlers. And I had them there. The truth is I wouldn't need them most of the time, because if you do it enough, you've internalized it. And talk about internalization. When I began role-playing, I role-played with this gentleman, which if you go to YouTube, that podcast with him was incredible, because full circle, I spoke with him later, I connected with him later. But anyways, so when I role-played with Greg the first time, this was the first person I role-played with, that the skill level was just very, very high. You can tell the difference you role-play to somebody who hasn't done to somebody who's mastered the dialogue. So I role-played with him, and then at the end of the role-play, because I was like super scared to role-play with him, at the end of the role-play, he goes to me, Chris, because at that point in time I was with Mike Ferry, the coaching company. He goes, is that Mike Ferry's script that you just used? I said, yeah. He goes, no, it wasn't. Bless him. That's nothing to sneeze at me. He goes, was that my first script? I said, yeah. He goes, that didn't really sound like it. He goes, do not make a script you. And this is important that you all learn this. Do not make a script you until you have internalized what's on that piece of paper. Do not change the script. You do not have permission to change scripts if a script works. This expired script that's in front of you, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars with that script. Do not change that script. You can maybe add transitions, right? So let me look at this one here. If you would have sold your home, were you looking for something smaller, bigger, or simply moving out of town, as many families have been doing? But you can only do that when you have at least a brown one. Don't modify a script until you eat, sleep, and breathe it. Do not modify a script. So what's interesting is I was role-playing in the back room. I'm sorry, what's your name? Lily. as a role play, she was resisting to look at the script. I'm like, no. Put your eyes back on the paper. Go back to the script. Go back to the exact question. Don't make it you. I didn't say that. But stick to the script. Stick to the script, especially when you're role playing, until it becomes you. And scripts are weird. I remember looking at scripts for the first time. I'm like, I can't say that. It says terrific. I don't use terrific. Okay, well, go to ChatGPT, go to wherever you want, and look up approval words. That's cool, great. Whatever, there's 100 of them. So find whichever ones work for you. But don't just be the person that every time they say something, you say, awesome, awesome. Don't be the awesome. Beautiful, that's awesome. I'm so glad for you. Whatever, just think of that approval word. So when you see on these scripts, these tacky approval words, that one you have the ability to do whatever you want. Put whatever you want in there with the approval words. But the actual dialogue itself, I would recommend leaving it alone. So again, whatever's bold emphasis on it, and when you're calling, be excited. So if somebody were to ask you, how excited are you? And you tell the person, I think I'm a 5. And they say, you sound like 2 or 3, but you sound really dull and dry. One thing you could do is, and this might sound crazy, is record yourself. Get another camera, set it on a tripod, and record your prospecting sessions. You're gonna be like, ouch, is that how I sound? Is that how I look? I speak to you? Is I'm like pulling my lip or just nervous twitch or something? Getting all swirly when your baby goes.
Let's say that you keep the speaker or the person on the phone and he agrees to meet you. You haven't found your dog.
Not the car wash yet.
So and at the end he said, okay, great, come. And I see you, whatever. But I'm not gonna pay the 6%. I'm gonna pay whatever percent is that. How do you outcome telling him, okay, that makes sense?
That's a very good question. I think as per the board, I can't really discuss commission type of questions, but I will answer it because I'm not gonna. If someone wants to negotiate commissions with me over the phone, I'm not doing it. Compensation. I said compensation. I'm doing it in person. So, Mr. Seller, I know you want to discuss compensation, how it works. I can tell this is very important for you, is it? Mr. Seller? Yes. Is it important for you? Yes, it's very important. I'll make sure it's the first thing we speak about when we sit down tomorrow at 2:00. That'll be the first thing we speak about. Do you have any other questions before asking? Get back to that. Yes. So I'm gonna jump really quick. And at this point, I'm trying to get in as much as I can before you feel free. Personality styles, because that's come up a few times. So there's this green book. This is the one that it was like my personality styles type of Bible, let's call it. It's called Versatile Cell. Look, it's $6. How can you say no? So this book talks about the 4 personality styles, which is driver, amiable, analytical, and expressive. Each one is particular. So let's say that you're an analytical, which means that you enjoy graphs, charts, stats, typical engineer type of personality. You can't go to that house and say, hey dude, how's it going? They don't speak hey dude, right? They speak a structured way. A person that's expressive, they're the life of the party, usually wearing pink, yellow, super flamboyant, many colors on. They're the life of the world. You can't say to them, look at my graphs. Are you seeing these charts? It doesn't know. So you have to speak to the personality style based on how they communicate. And if you communicate to them the way that you communicate, you're going to get 1 out of every 4 people. Because you can only speak to your personality style. I'm a driver. Driver means I'm short, out, to the point. Super direct, to the point, no nonsense, let's get there. And then they said you have a backup personality style, which is what you default to under pressure. So I'm analytical under pressure. So I'm a driver, but analytical under pressure. when the crap hits the fan, all I think to myself is, why did this go wrong? That's everybody has different personality style. Like, what can I do differently next time so this doesn't happen again? So that's the driver. Then you have the expressive, which is the life of the party. The analytical, which is grass charts. Then amiable. So when you're talking to an amiable, you cannot be sure. You will repel them. So if you're talking to an amiable, make sure that you speak with feelings and emotions. For me, it's difficult to speak as an amiable, but you have to learn how to speak as an amiable. So this book tells you what your personality style is, and what the common traits are. Well, you know what your traits are. But this tells you how to speak to the other personality styles, how to speak their language. Because once you can speak the language, you're just opening doors. You're in alignment with the dialogue, with the conversation, with them. So as far as some made a note to talk about CRMs, I'm not going to necessarily push any CRM. I have no interest in CRMs. Out there is Follow Boss, which is probably one of the top of the game. I use a system called Brivity because they do it all for me. They have the CRM plus the website. But again, I suggest whatever CRM you have. I think this is important. Whatever CRM you have, stick with it. Right? Don't keep changing CRMs. Just use it. Just use it. Use it. Get good at it. Like watch all the tutorials. Figure out how to get better with it. Because if not, then you have to keep changing, moving your database again and again and again. So if you've already done it, just commit to that one CRM. Let me see what else I got here. We spoke about the index cards. Okay, so yes. So Christina passed out an evaluation form. I'd like to know, and we'd like to know, us with the bootcamp, what we did right, what we did wrong. We'd love your feedback on it. You don't have to put your name. I'd just like to know how we performed. As far as the prospecting school session portion missing from your keys, don't hold that against me. I have nothing to do with not being able for us to prospect. But for those who haven't, and for those of you who haven't prospected, this kind of gives you a taste of what to expect with the role play, right? Like so if you go to prospecting bootcamp, you would just have to know, who am I going to call for a day or 2 days? They have a list of people. Like, what's your goal? And if you get stuck on, you're not sure who to call, reach out to me directly and you can figure out a way on the audience that we'll be calling. Because you'd be calling, again, if it's a 2-day event and you don't have contacts, we seriously have to figure something out. If it's 1 day, then it'd be easy. But yes, so if you'd like more information on bootcamp, there's a little basket here. Just put your card there, and we'll email the details for the next camp, which is on July 22nd at the Hilton by the Bayland Mall. So that's gonna be a full day event with bus ride.
July 22?
July 22. And that will be a full day event.
We do need calls from that.
You can make calls from
You need to prospect.
You will be prospecting. That will be the real deal. And again, I hate to keep saying it, but for those of you who haven't prospected, once you go to a full day of having prospected, at the end of the day, you're like, wow, I did this. I did this. I did this. It's like, if I can do this, which I was ridiculously uncomfortable with, what else can I do? What else is holding me back from going to greater lengths?
So we're going to
If you can, well, you know all these details. I'll send you the event link. Yeah. And these events, it's a small fee. It's not like I'm charging hundreds of dollars. It's not like it's less than like $60. Because there's gonna be breakfast, there's gonna be lunch, there's the venue space, right? So it's not a money maker. It's me building community and helping this grow the business. That's the intention behind bootcamps. Yes, absolutely. So the development one we spoke about. Approval words. Google that. You'll find them. There's a lot of Google words that you use. All right, so wrapping up, any final questions from anyone?
I have a question for the thank you so much for planning and working with it. I just events and just want to make sure anybody has this. You mentioned the list you get, but when you mentioned divers, something that choose that in your business, I mean, this is cool for them to have it and they can look at research on it.
All right, so the dialers that I used for probably like 8 years was Vulcan. Now I use a system called Batch Dialer, which is another animal. It's just a smarter dialer. It can do more. But there's Mojo, there's Red X. There's a bunch of dialers out there.
What was the one you used now?
Batch Dialer. It does not give you, it doesn't provide data. It doesn't give you expired physicals. It doesn't give you that kind of stuff, which the other dialers will. It's just a serious dialer. Again, I have no interest in any of these companies whatsoever. We'll start with what I personally use. Regarding the bootcamp, and before I get into the bootcamp, I was thinking about you. How was your experience at the last bootcamp when you made your phone calls?
It was great. I did set my first appointment during the bootcamp. It was amazing in terms of the atmosphere where you are surrounded by people who are also making calls. And it also adds a little bit of that pressure, good pressure, where you can't just leave the phone and go make lunch, right? Because that's what I do sometimes when I call phone. So that also showed me that I can call for 3 hours, and it's not that bad.
It's not.
It's not.
It's a huge fear that most people have. And it's very rewarding once you overcome it. Marcus, any words on your experience for the last bootcamp?
Yeah, it was.
These are not paid introductions.
It was what I wanted. I wanted to be in an environment where I was putting an expectation on myself to do something that I was avoiding doing.
Yes.
And that's getting on the phone and being willing to not be good at something at first, so I can work towards goals being better. So, all right.
Thank you. That's the end of it.
Yeah, I actually wanted to piggyback on today's session. If you feel nervous, sign up for the bootcamp. If you feel overwhelmed, understand this is 50 plus years of experience, literally just in 3 hours, probably less than 3 hours. And if you feel nervous, that means that you care. We were all beginner. We all were, when we start walking, when we try to walk, how many times we've done? Countless. Me probably 10. So what I'm saying is we just didn't give up. So if you feel nervous, then go. And don't give up because we were all beginner. Every successful person is learning, but we suck at the beginning. That's just a fact. I'm not talented, I don't speak Spanish. We can tell ourselves a bunch of things that we choose to say. But quite frankly, you find a good environment that is going to support your growth, and it doesn't really matter of any affiliation. I mean, this is simply we helping each other raise up. Why? Because if you care for people, you're in the right business. If you put in people over profit, you're in the right business. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to come, and I know Chris for probably 6-7 years, and by knowing him and role playing with him, I know I became there. And I often say, we used to work in the same office. I often say that was the only guy that was better than me. And that's why you want to surround yourself with people that are better in that aspect.
Awesome. Thank you. So if you're nervous, if you're hesitant, come. If you're pretty confident, come. If you're down on the phone, come. It's okay. Because I go to prospecting bootcamps, I'll go there for 2 days because I know that I can plow through an insane amount of contacts, 7 hours a day, uninterrupted, to where you're just on the phone. It's a very long time. I remember the first time I went to a prospecting bootcamp, after the first break, I wanted to vomit. I was going to the bathroom and puke. I was so nervous and so just freaked out by the people around me and like, you know, what they were saying. They were so much better than I was and all of these thoughts, right? That little Matt Ferry, he calls it the drunk monkey, a little voice in your head that just goes nuts with you and takes you to town. So sometimes a little voice in your head isn't the one that's helping you accomplish your goals. A little voice is holding you back every single moment. And this is uncomfortable. And I thank you all for coming, period, to this event, right? Taking a chance with me. You saw a good title. Hopefully you found value in it. But keep coming to the boot camps. Keep being uncomfortable. Because once you get really good, you're really going to want to keep coming. Because you're going to set. I went to a boot camp once. I saw one guy in 2 days. He set 20 appointments. Because there's usually a board. You have your name. You have your goal for the day, and then the amount that you set. And by the time it was like 15, everybody else was like, maybe 4, 5. Yeah, 20. I'm like, I'm going to stand behind this freaking guy. I didn't hear what he's saying. He's clearly saying something right. And what I realized with him was that I was saying most of the same things he was saying, but he had that killer close. So being in that environment, you'll hear somebody say something where that's the difference on making another deal out. I wasn't going to talk about this, but since we're in this conversation, if you're not doing a deal a month, set yourself a goal to do 1 deal a month. If you're doing 1 deal a month, set yourself to do 2 deals a month. And you say to yourself, I can do 2 deals a month. I can probably do 3 deals a month. Doing 1 deal, this is being 100% real with y'all. Doing 1 deal a month, you can't survive in the city. You can barely survive if you do 1 deal a month. 2 deals, okay, you agree. 3 deals, man. 4 deals, by the time you get to 4 or 5 deals, you're putting thousands of dollars away every month. You're knocking out your debt. You're doing some serious damage. And how do you get it to increasing from 0 to 1, 1 to 2? It's with baby steps. It's just like how you know it. Right? One bite at a time. And that's what this is. The foundation is the scripts, followed by the role play. And once you get those 2 down, you keep practicing, you figure out, okay, I'm calling, what are the objections? What do I work on? You focus on those 5 objections. Back there, in the blue shirt, Caterina, she can set you all up with a role play group. If you want to figure out the whole role play component, she's got you taken care of. And it's a different partner every week, right?
It's a different partner every day.
Every day. Okay. I stand corrected. So it's a different partner every day. You go to a Zoom link and then you match them up with whoever.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to create it. And my suggestion is join a role play group. Do not find a role play partner. Unless that role play partner that you want to find is a certified 10th degree black belt. If they're not, you know what's going to happen? They're going to stand you up on Monday, on Wednesday, the following Monday. No, you need a role play partner every day. They take care of the role play partner every day. So jump into that group, and you'll have a different role play partner.
What time? It's 7:30 a.m.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
So that way you have your 7:30 role play call, then you jump on the phone today.
Because my 2 role play on game is afternoon, and I was like that because I want more morning.
I'm not an afternoon guy to do anything. I want to knock everything out super early. Yeah. Agreed. So the morning role play 7:30, you guys are good. Once you have a foundation, you keep getting around people, groups that push you, that make them basketball. Jimmy Butler, I'm a huge basketball fan. Jimmy Butler said when he left Miami, before he left Miami, he said that he lost his joy of playing basketball in Miami. Like, this bastard, you lost your joy. Making $50 million a year. And you lost your joy of playing basketball. And the reason why I'm saying that, not to pick on Jimmy Butler, I can care less about him anymore. They bother me. I'm over it. This brings my joy back, is being in this setting, helping agents accomplish what they're looking to accomplish. I really do enjoy it. I hope you all stay connected. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around. Thank you for coming.